All right. Hello.
Hey there, what's going on?
Well, I'm excited to be talking to you because
I
we
know.
have been working together for a while now. You were in my program. Do you want to start with talking about like how we met and kind of the
Well,
story
yeah,
that led us here?
I would say, the universe sent you to me at the perfect time. I found you online on Instagram, to be exact, and it's been quite a journey since. So,
Oh, well, wait, we should first introduce ourselves.
okay, okay.
Well,
So,
yeah. So I'm Lindsay and I am the Real Love Alchemist. I'm a dating coach, breakup mentor, energy healer. And you are?
and I'm Radhika. Was in need of some healing work. Also was, kind of to live the life of spirituality, and met Lindsay kind of in the midst of diving deep into my transformation and healing journey. So that's why I say she was kind of like sent to me. You were sent to me, like right when I needed you, literally. So here we are. And it's been working with you was amazing. It was almost like, at first I had never heard of, the type of, your modality, the emotion code, but I did, believe strongly in energy healing. So it was like, okay, I'm gonna, definitely dive into this. And then your whole program itself, like, I don't know, it brought me to me, in a lot of ways, because it was like I was using these tools that I had never used, and it was me coming through for myself and not, going to just it was like an awakening for sure. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
when I met you, you were really like you were in it with your ex and like trying to figure out what do I do? Is this the right relationship? Yeah. Do you
right.
remember? Do you
Right.
remember?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
that, and then it was like next thing to the next thing was like definitely not like I'm done, and then it was like okay, well now I need to get over this, and I need some assistance on doing that, and like doing it the right way in a sense, and not going from one relationship to the next and using things to numb. I never really sat with my pain like that the way I did, and it's always been like, oh, I'm gonna go drink, or I'm gonna go and find somebody else. Literally, it's always been, I'm just gonna go find somebody else, and I'm fine, and I'm good. Like, and usually that works for the moment.
Until it stops working. Yeah.
But in the long run, it's almost like I saw like there was still so much in me. And I felt like when I met this particular person, I was kind of coming into that. Like there was so much about it in the beginning that I was like, nah, no, 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 no. And then I was just kept on getting pulled back in. And but I allowed it, and that's also been part of the healing, was like letting go of the shame of allowing it, even though I knew it was like a no. So yeah, it's like learning these behaviors that we have, like, and why we let things slide, and why, when we before the transformation, before the healing, because I feel like the healing and spiritual growth and just growth in general transformation, it's like a lifelong journey. It's like we're ever evolving. So at that point though, I really, I needed that push in a way, and I needed to, do the releasing and just dig into the actual like healing work, because it's like I feel like I've done work but never like that before. Never.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very intense, and I'm like now observing like who I was in that relationship, and what I allowed, and how like just how horrible. And I have to like, remind myself, like I can't talk to myself like that. Like I give myself the grace that, I was literally like trying to give this person a chance to be different, to be like help this person with their personal growth. And there was so much in me that I needed to fix before trying to fix somebody else. So um
Yeah.
yeah, coming into your program, and then, as I did like all these other, um, seminars and EMDR and Reiki. I always add in the EFT, even though that was also, that's part of your program, but that was major. Oh my God. Like
Yeah.
major because I had never done it before. And I saw the difference in doing it. Like, so anyway, I'm going, I just want to like, I guess it's, how can I say? I'm feel like I'm still in the becoming. I'm still in the like the integrating part of the healing process. Like like a newborn right now. That not
Yeah.
necessarily I'm a newborn. I'm still an infant, and I'm like in these like I'm learning how to crawl, and I might be climbing up right now, and I've discovered my hands and my feet, and it's beautiful. But I'm still like holding on a little bit to the shame of because I feel like new things have come up of like why I allowed this, and like why did I excuse so much of this person's behavior, or just like was I that blinded by what I wanted it to be versus what it really was.
I do know. Because what was coming to me while you were talking is the phrase like following your heart, which is such a complicated phrase, but it's what happens to us when we get in these situations with people who maybe we know are not ultimately for us, but our heart can like call out, can cry out and be like, no, stay, like love this person, give this person a chance. And so I always say, like, if you're going on a spiritual awakening journey, absolutely follow your heart, except when it comes to relationships, because a lot of times our heart can be guiding us towards people who are just familiar to us in the ways that they behave. They're familiar to us in their energy. I think that's a big part of it. And we feel just compelled to be in these relationships. And it's that like I do remember talking to you about that at the time. Like
um,
there is a distinction between just following the emotions and following what actually is deeper than the emotions. Like the really deep intuition that eventually, yeah, you came to you and said, no, this isn't it for me. I need to move
yeah.
on. It's quiet though. It's not always easy to hear it.
It's quiet and also can sometimes be confused with like suspicion rather than intuition.
Yeah.
And I felt like, oh, is this just me because of what I've been through in the past? Like, is it just, but I knew, like, I really did know, like, early on, like, no, and like I knew it, but I honestly, I was pretty much begged, like, to stay, and begged, like, I don't want to lose you, and I'll do whatever it takes. And then it's like, this person like on literally like on his knees begging, like I'll do whatever it takes. So then I accept that because I'm looking at this person as like, you're a human, you've been through a lot. I see you that you are working on some healing work, and so I'm like, okay, let me, give this person this chance. And then the reality of that, like, it's almost like people want to be something that they're currently not capable of,
Yeah.
you know? And that's what I felt happened in this situation. It was like I felt like the words might have been sincere, but was not capable to follow through. And I'm not perfect by far, and that was another thing. I was like, I have this and I have my own flaws and I have my own thing, and I'm not perfect, and I've hurt people in the past, or whatever it is. I've hurt myself or whatever. So it's like, okay, here we are, two people who want to be better. Let's try to be better together. But here I am, I go and I give this person this chance after being begged, after being betrayed, after knowing, like, this person's not really ready. And it's like, okay, no, I'm ready. And then it's like, okay, we make it official. And then I get betrayed
Yeah.
like within like 2 weeks after. And then it's like, oh God, that's where I'm like, sometimes I struggle, but I'm like, I remind myself, I give myself that grace. And that's exactly why I did it, was to give this person the begging chance that they were asking for. And then for 2 weeks later to be betrayed like that. And anyway, so, and then more begging happens. It's
Yeah.
like, and it's one thing I also learned is like, what's so important is what's important to you in a relationship has to at least like resonate in the other person in some kind of way. Like I said, okay, I can work on like allowing you in my life still, but I want a divine, sacred relationship that, the meaning of love, like what it is, acceptance, like support. And, the person was like, yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Right,
I
right.
got you. Let's do that. And it was like, then I mean, I felt like when I reflect on it, even more recently, like I reflect on it, I felt like that person was like out to destroy me in a kind of way. Like, and I don't even really think that he knew it. He was out to destroy me.
Mm,
Like the way that things were, it was like, I don't really care about how you feel. I don't really care about what you're going through. I don't care about what I did to you.
mm.
This is what I want. And that's it.
Wow.
So, it's like now it's like, okay, well, now that I've come on the other side of it and I'm here and it's like, okay, opening up to this dating thing and a lot, like I definitely gave myself the time, the needed time to do the healing and to come into the healing, like process the actual healing, because that's a whole other step in itself. It's like one thing
Yeah.
you wait, you do some healing work, and then after you do the healing work, it's like, I mean, I read something today, it's like give yourself like, okay, if there's the healing, and then there's the in between, and then it's like then it's like beautiful. So it's like the person in between needs a lot of love, and a lot of like when you're in that middle, and I feel like I'm still kind of in the middle, but I'm definitely closer to the beauty. So um yeah, I don't know, I mean, it's been rough, and I reflect on who I was. So parts of your program for me was like just understanding more and more that behavior and where it comes from on both sides, like even understanding him more,
Yeah.
understanding myself, and like why I would allow that. There was one part that, like I mentioned to you, when I came through for myself and I did the tapping, I did the meditation, it was like I
It was
had felt so
incredible.
dysregulated. That was actually the last time I actually spoke to him on the phone, and it was like, oh my God, that's just like, so I did the tapping, and I was like, wow, like it's like, holy whoa.
You pulled yourself out of it.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
yeah, it's been quite the journey, and I'm in this place now where I'm really trying to let go of my shame to myself, because here I had this person, like try to make it seem like I was doing something wrong, but meanwhile, like, I mean, it's valid, it's true. When somebody betrays you, the connection's completely off,
Yeah.
and and the trust is like gone. As much as I tried to trust, it was like I didn't. And then there was like so much about this person that I didn't necessarily like approve of, that I just ignored because of the idea of being with him was like, like, I don't know, the idea, the non-reality of being with him, because it wasn't like it was like an extravagant, beautiful relationship, obviously, but I don't know. So, it's I don't know, I'm in this becoming.
Well, yeah, I can hear that you've done a lot of self-forgiveness work, but yeah, there's still more to go. And like what I would say to that piece of, feeling shame that you did give this person many chances in your life. I actually like I don't judge it at all, because sometimes that is the journey that we actually have to take. Because the truth is, the only way that you can really know what somebody is like is to give them a chance. And sometimes it takes more than one chance for it to really get
Come
clear
on.
to us that this isn't the person. Because
Yeah,
in like if you go to the other extreme and you don't give anyone any chances, you'll never experience love.
right.
So it's
Yeah,
actually like if you're gonna err to one side, I err towards the side of giving people a chance. And then when you realize there's too many red flags, or they're just betraying you all the time, then you leave. But yeah, you have to give people a chance. You really do. And like in your case, sometimes it takes a couple of those chances for it to really, really get clear for you that no, I have to move on now. Do you know how
yeah,
many chances that I gave the men in my life?
I
So
know.
many. So many.
No, but those chances are so crushing. And
They
like,
are.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying. Definitely. Like, you have to go through that, like, to get to like, okay, I'm done. And now it's like, that can never happen. Like, like, what do I need to do within me? The self-reflection kicks in. It's like, okay, well, I allowed that. I stayed, I did. So it's like, this person's who they are, like, and not to say people don't change. I believe in that strongly, because look at me and look at, the things that we've grown from. Um, but it's like, it is something within me that allowed that, So it's like, okay, yeah, I needed it. I needed it. So I'm at this point now where I'm like, okay, I'm trying to come even more to like giving that, like, how can I say, like appreciating what I went through.
Yeah.
But it's hard, because when you're suffering
Yeah.
inside, in a relationship, it's like, how do you feel? How do you give that, like, any kind of appreciation? But then you look at the outcome and it's like, okay, well, that pushed me to get to me. That
Yeah.
pushed me to, I mean, one thing, like, in one of the seminars I did was, here, I have my crystal right here, right? So this is the diamond, and the diamond gets full of like mud and gunk and like all this over the years, the things that happen to you, the traumas, the whatever, the breakups of this. And it's just like, that's all the gunk and this. So I feel like the process that I have made was like just cleaning off the diamond, like, so that I can shine brighter. And I'm still like, I'm me, but because of all those things that was covering me, I couldn't, like, like, it's like I was blocked, I was shunned, I was, like, different, those things that happen to us when, we face these kinds of people and situations in our lives. So
Yeah, it's hard to see it when you're in the middle of it. It's hard to see and appreciate where this journey is taking you. And like I know that in my own life. Like I actually don't know how much I told you about the chronic illness that I experienced, but that's what it was like for me. Like I have this dizziness that I had for years and I absolutely hated it. Hated it to my core. But just recently I've started to integrate. Like actually this thing that I hated so much and fought against so much, it actually got me to where I am today. Like without it, I would not be in this pretty sweet life that I've created for myself. I would have just been like following the well, whatever you call it, like the well-trod path. And I would not be doing this work that I'm doing today that's so fulfilling for me. So it's only more
yeah,
recently that I'm really feeling gratitude for this thing that I hated for so many years, that caused so much suffering for me. So yeah, in the thick of it, it's hard to see it, but this is taking you somewhere. The challenges that you've been
yeah,
through, they are taking you to a better place because you're learning from them. You're not just like burying your head in the sand,
definitely,
and like you're making new choices, you're healing, so you will get to the better place. You're already getting there.
definitely. And yes, yes. And the work that you do is so amazing. I just want to like give you that, give you that acknowledgement. And I'm glad that you went through, that you're here and you will be able to overcome what was holding you back and all that. And it really does take that deep work to get to you, to get to what your capabilities are, to like come into your authentic self, you know. And sometimes I'm like, okay, well, I've always been like this, like, positive and like, person that loves and this. And I'm like, yeah, but then I also let like things slide. I let people walk all over me. So that's not my authentic self. I didn't like it. I didn't want to be a part of that. I wanted, out of it, but then I was so emotionally stuck in it. So I feel like with this person, it was like this trauma bond, this like, there was nothing else that kept me there other than like the anxious attachment, the traumas that I've been through, and just also the desire to like want to be with someone. It was like almost like it came from such like a desperate place.
Mm.
Even though in the beginning, like I was walking away, it's like, no, this isn't for me. And I kept on getting pulled back in by him, and then I just was like, okay, let's give it a try. And then even after the betrayal, that thing that happened, the cheating. And
Yeah.
even after that was like, okay, I could still try to give this a chance. But I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I thought about it. I didn't want to. Even then, it was like, I don't want to be with someone who cheated on me. Like, I literally hadn't done something like that in like 10 plus years. Like, I don't accept that.
Yeah, that's what it's like. Like the deeper part of you knows, but then there's all that stuff on top of it. What I call the ego, like your wounded inner child who is trauma bonded, who does have that anxious attachment. And so, like, you did the work, like, you dove in there, you helped that inner child so that you could break away. It's not easy, though. It's still a really challenging process for anyone. You did
It
it.
is. Yeah. It
You were
is.
like, honestly, Radhika, you were like one of my best clients. Like, you used all the tools that I gave you, and you could see like it did work. But it's
It
because you have to go deeper. Like, you have to get to that wounded part that usually doesn't feel good enough, doesn't feel safe on its own, feels like it needs this person to survive, and you have to work with that at that level.
Yeah, thank you for seeing that and noticing and noting it, because it was hard and it was something that I was like, I'm gonna do it. I don't know, like, if I have to push myself, this is like new things, different, but I'm gonna totally do this. I believed so much in your program that I was like, I'm gonna do this, and I do feel a lot. I feel so much clarity when it comes to like men and like really, like, it's so important. I actually watched the video that you just posted about like weaving out the ones that are not ready, like asking those questions. And I was that. I didn't want to ask too many, like, oh, what are you looking for? It's like, it was like I was scared, like, oh, that might push them away. Like, good. Bye.
That's what you want.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And I also felt like that before. I was like, oh, maybe I could be flexible. Maybe this. No, I didn't want to be flexible. I knew what I wanted, but I was being like this, like flip floppy, like, going with the flow. When meanwhile, like, no, 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 I needed to say no and stick to it. But again, it brought me to this. And here I am, and much more whole and wholesome and like freer within myself, that like, and confident that these things won't happen, so
Yeah. I was gonna ask, like, how has it been for you these days? Like, what's new for you?
so I am kind of dating someone. And I
Okay.
say kind of because honestly, I feel like until I know that it's like something, I don't even want to label it that. Like, to be honest,
Good.
like,
Take your
even
time.
dating, but it's someone who is on the same page, like completely on the same page. There's no question. Like, the exchange is so like, it's just, yeah, it's been nice. It's still very early, taking my time completely, because like, I learned from that too. Like, jumping into things, jumping into physical, like, any part that needs time, like, I'm doing it. And really, and I know it takes time to get to know someone. I don't want to be emotionally attached to someone without knowing them, like, knowing I should be. So I have been definitely taking the time. So, at first I was really, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. And like, I don't even want to be like, I want to be with someone that I knew for sure. But I'm like, the whole getting to know someone again, and like, oh, but then I'm like, I have to change my mood about that. I have to be open. I have to understand that this is part of the process.
Yeah.
So, this person seems to be really cool. He's one thing I also like, I had to like come to terms with is like, sometimes I also would flip flop, like somebody on my level. Like, what does that mean exactly?
Yeah.
On my level or higher, in a way. Like, and it's important. It's not a matter of like I'm better than someone or not, but like someone who is like, who can match in some kind of way. Like, if someone is not even like, I guess, like, I feel that way with the when I reflect on this past relationship, that like there was so much that we were just not on the same level about,
Mm-hmm.
mentally, emotionally, like, um spiritually. I'll even throw in there financially, like, just so much that was just off. And I'm like, I'm a successful businesswoman, I'm very spiritual. So I want that. Like, I want that in someone. And one thing I used to say was like, oh, at least somebody who's open to it. yeah, be open to it. But you gotta come with something. You gotta come with some of these already. I'm 40 years old.
Yeah,
We're not 20
right.
anymore. Like I'm not here to train you. Are we gonna learn and grow and learn new things together? Absolutely, let's do that. Like I want that. But you gotta come with some of it already, Like I can't hold your hand, especially, if I'm holding your hand and you're holding it and then you're pulling back and you're pulling back. And that's what I feel like I was experiencing. This person made me think that he was all spiritual. That's why I feel like it was like either it was dead on, like lying about it, or just wanted to be this but wasn't there, like just or wasn't capable at that time, because
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, I could be this. Yeah, we could do that. And then when it came down to it, it was like, no, it was like a constant pull, a constant pull. And I'm like, well, oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
You brought up such an important point. Like somebody can say that they're spiritual or say that they're into personal growth, but watch what they do. Like, are they actually doing it? Do they do their own work? Do they go to therapy? Do they get mentoring? Like, what are they actually doing? That's such
right,
an important point.
right.
So to
And like,
this guy, what does he do? I'm curious.
he is an engineer in the Navy.
Aha. No, but I mean, like, what is he bringing? Like you said, like he's bringing
Oh,
it. Like,
so
what have you noticed in him?
well, that one thing I could see the 13 years in the Navy, and the spirituality, like he's into the whole yoga, he does meditation.
Okay.
He's actually practicing Buddhism. So, it's kind of on the same, similar to same than what I
It
was
is.
brought up in. So, he's also almost a vegetarian. I mean, I told you like the just different things that like make sense to what I'm trying to do. And also just the level of consciousness. I mean, I'm still getting to know him.
Yeah.
We'll see. He's very business minded. Not only is he that, he's also about to become a commercial lawyer.
Nice.
That and he's got properties. Like it's just things that like, we were talking about, like land and building and doing different not necessarily together, but like just the ideas. Oh, I have these ideas. I've been working on these projects already, and he's been working on these projects. And it's like, oh wow, cool. A lot of like similarity. And honestly, like I feel like I mean I'm gonna go back to this other person because like yeah, I'm at a place, I'm not comparing them, but I am like, wow, like this is a person like before that. Here I am trying to talk business. I'm trying to grow spiritually. I want, like someone that he never even like came to any of the yoga or any of the meditations with me, nothing. Like, in that time we were together, I would invite him and he wouldn't come, like, like, oh, that's your thing. And like somebody says that to you, it's like, ugh, oh, this is me, like myself. I'm like, oh, when did I stay? But anyway,
Yeah.
so we're moving past that. We've moved past that.
Well, he sounds promising. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the things that I was like dealing with before was like constant, like just push and pull, push and pull. It's like, okay, yeah, I like that. But then when I'm like, all right, let's go do it, it's like, oh no, I don't want to do that. That's your stuff. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens with this new guy. I think he's I think he's a good option.
That is the perfect way to phrase it. Because I was gonna say, the beautiful part about this process is if it doesn't seem like he's a good fit, there's someone else out there.
Yeah,
It's not like you just
definitely.
have one person, you have to find this one person. No, you'll be happy with a lot of different people.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm at a point where I mean, I really just, I mean, yes, I get what you're saying and I agree, but I just want the like next person to be the last person. Like I'm done with this like trying out situations and and honestly, we can like give each other grace. Okay, we're not for each other. And I had a couple of those in between, that I had to say, okay, like, I see you as a wonderful person and everything, but I don't feel like it's a fit, and I actually did that. And I did it with like, like I was a little nervous of like hurting somebody's feelings. But
Right.
I'm like, this is just my truth. And like I don't see a fit. Like I don't feel like there's enough compatibility to move forward, to give my time and energy into that. So I did a couple of those. Um,
Yeah.
since I opened up to dating again. But no, I'm just he's pretty cool. We'll see.
So far, so good. But yeah, I mean, like you and everybody else who wants it to be just like open up the app and just find somebody and that's it. I mean, that's such a common feeling to feel like
Yeah.
just tired of it, especially at our age, you know, like 40 and up. I'm 42. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm not dating right now, but I feel you in that. And I think a lot of people get really, really frustrated. And I actually am going to be talking about this more about like what's at the root of this frustration that we have with dating and this impatience. And a lot of times it is subconscious stuff. And so here I am waving my subconscious healing flag. But you know, I think when we also come from a place of having a lot of trauma, it can feel like we can be in this place of having an impulse to just attach to somebody really quickly. You're not doing that anymore, which is brilliant. But a lot of us do get into
Yeah.
that place where it's like, oh, I'm just tired of this. Like, all right, I'm just going to settle for this person, even though it's not really what I want. So it is a trap that we can get into, and I'm glad you're not in that place anymore.
Yeah, totally not. Like I've observed like the feelings, the difference
Yeah.
of what it was, even, with this past relationship. And I even look at previous because I'm like, okay, like how was it with this one? How was it this one? And it was like it's just
Oh, we
stuff.
broke.
But yeah, it feels more
Okay.
clear-minded. It feels comfortable. It feels like I'm not right. I'm not this, like, I don't feel anxious about it. I don't feel it feels safe. It feels like it's okay to do. There's no like, oh my God, what is this person doing and why and what's happening? And like, should I be doing this? Should I not be doing this? Like, like, or I just want to be with somebody. Cause I said, like, I feel like a lot of that energy that I had, even like after the betrayal and staying with the person and all of that was like, it came from a place of just like desperation.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to be with somebody. Okay, it's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But it did not feel that way. It was not okay, whatever. It was like I'm dying inside, and that's another thing. I'm like, when I think about it, like, I know it really wasn't his responsibility, but it was like this person, like I was dying inside, and there was a lot of it that he knew, and he just like let it happen. Just like let it happen. Like there's a saying that somebody said to me the other day that made so much sense. It was like a lot of people want to be. There's people who want to be down with you,
Yeah.
but not down for you. Like
Mm.
really have your back, like be there, support you. If you're down, they'll, really there to pick you up. And that was not, he was wanting to be down with me. And I feel like he was very attracted to my spirituality. He was very attracted to the way I eat, the way, my juicing, all this natural, like holistic way of living. Like he was super attracted to that, and the music that I listened to, like all these things. I mean, these are things that he would say
Yeah.
and like express his interest. He was so attracted to that. So it was like, yeah, she seems cool over there. Let me come get her. Even though I don't really want to, like, do what it takes to be with her, or I'm not like, um, and then destroy her so that she dies and
Yeah.
reborn again. But yeah, that's kind of what happened. So yeah,
It's
like,
describe this dynamic. It's like you're the one that's propelling the relationship forward. You're doing all the work, you're holding this presence, and someone else is just kind of like feeding off of you and being like, yeah, that's attractive, that's cool. I'm not gonna actually do it myself, but let me like pull from her. Yeah, that's such
right.
a draining dynamic.
Yeah.
Draining.
I think I said, and it's like, I felt like I was robbed, you
Yeah.
know, I feel like I was robbed for sure, but
So yeah, you're right. Like you do need someone on your level in that sense, like someone who is showing up just as clearly and as strongly as you are, who is
yeah,
doing your own stuff. Yeah.
definitely. And then someone that I can actually learn something from. Like that's what part of my like prayer, like in this like releasing, and like when I do that meditative work and stuff, and I'm like, if it like allow it to be someone I can finally like learn something positive from, and not not it be a lesson in what I shouldn't be doing. Like, and like the hard negative lessons of like letting, like, you know what I'm trying to say, like
Yeah.
those right, those like things that just kind of, you make you feel like you're destroyed momentarily or temporarily. So I would like to have a not more of an uplifting. I've experienced it before, but it's like, yeah, no, I don't know, you know, I allowed this to happen to myself. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I would love to actually, feed off of each other and learn, like definitely. So we'll see.
If
Definitely
that's
have a
yeah, if that's what you want, then you'll get it because you
yeah,
won't settle for the less than that anymore.
definitely. Not at this point. And it's like, I think we say that, oh, I won't ever let that happen to me again. Like this comes from a different place,
I
a
can feel it.
different, like, healed, transformed place. I feel it. I mentioned to you, I stopped drinking, I stopped
Yeah.
smoking pot. Like I'm going into my fourth month of no, like, completely sober, let's just say. Fourth month no alcohol, 7 months no pot, no marijuana. And like that's
Wow.
also another journey in itself. Like I never lived like this before. I've never
Amazing.
lived completely sober.
You're completely rocketing up. Like you're leveling up
Yeah.
incredibly.
And I feel like I'm more out of the very weird and like strange, because the first month of sober was like, okay, I got this, no problem. Second month was like, oh my God, what? I felt so out of place. I felt so, like, what was going on? I didn't know,
Yeah.
like, everything felt weird. Like, even just hanging out with the same people was like, oh, what am I doing here? Like, what's going on? I just felt completely out of place. Third month was more like, okay, and I went out a couple of times. I went on a cruise and I danced and did karaoke sober. Like, I did all this stuff sober. I had a blast sober. And I was like, wow, I could do this. Like, this is still me. Like, I'm still this fun, like, outgoing, like, person, even without the alcohol. So that was a good realization for me. I needed it so bad because I was like, what is going on? Like, what do I do sober, So it
Yeah.
was, yeah, that. And I feel like all that healing work is what really pushed to be able to do that, because those were big habits, like, major habits for 20 plus years that I had, that I was able to kick
Yeah.
in in through that journey of the healing. Like, right in the middle of it was like, okay, I'm gonna stop drinking. Okay, I'm gonna stop smoking. Okay, and I did.
You were so ready. Like I'm telling you, what you have done is really incredible. Like just like you ended this toxic relationship, changed all these bad habits, and you did it fast. And I do credit that to you, your work ethic, and the modalities that you used too. You did a lot in the time that you and I were working together. And that just goes to show it doesn't have to take forever. Like you can move through this stuff relatively quickly. It's still a journey for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It is a journey, and I remember your voice comes to my head sometimes when I'm like thinking, like, when, because this grieving and this, like, it grieving the alcohol, grieving the relationship, grieving the old me, like all these things. Like, it's been so messy, like, because sometimes I'm like, I feel so empowered and like, oh, like I get this like period of like this rush of like, so much like full energy. And then there's like this point where I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And like, I just feel sad, and I feel like, and I'm like, okay, I ride the wave and I allow it. And I'm like, this is also part of life. There's going to be, joy. There's going to be pain. There's going to be, and I've done so much in this period of time. So I would remember, you're going as fast as you can. You're doing
Yeah.
it as quickly as you can. And you're doing it and you're doing it. And I'm like, okay, yes, this is true. Even
Yeah.
though I just want to like snap my fingers and just completely forget about that situation that I went through with this person. But yes, I'm definitely way better. And it just keeps on getting better and better. So
Well,
yeah.
that's a good point to bring up. Like in all that grief, you're still noticing that you're getting better. Because what a lot of people don't say, like the truth of spiritual awakening, the real truth, it's just like a crap ton of pain. Like you're grieving all of these things, like you're letting go of these old patterns, but what's underneath these patterns? It's pain. All the stuff
Yeah.
that we were using to cover that pain up. So when you're awakening, when you're healing, you're literally going through this immense grieving process. And as you go through it, you level up, you feel better and better. But in between, man, it's tough. It's
It is
brutal.
so tough. It is so tough. And I'm I'm still in the between, and I can't necessarily say I'm closer to being out of it or not. I don't know.
You're just going
But,
through it. Yeah.
I'm still doing the work. I'm still doing my meditations. I'm still showing up for my yoga. I'm still doing things that bring peace and joy. And and then when I feel, I haven't actually felt overwhelmed, like like any anxiety or anything for quite some time.
Wow.
I haven't had to really use the breathing or the EFT in a while. So, but I know it's there, and I know the breathing is there. I know my tools are there that I've learned from your program. Um, so thankfully, I haven't had to do that. It's been months, really. So, um, but yeah, I feel like I don't know when that point will come, but I do feel like I'm getting there, like I'm getting there. And like I also have like, my best friend that she'll sometimes remind me because I'm like, oh, like am I and this was a little while ago that they really helped though. She was like, I was like, am I isolating? Like, what am I doing? And she's like, no, you're processing. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm processing. Like, it was very helpful for her, that at that moment. This was like maybe a month ago that I was just still, it was intense. It really was. This work is intense,
It's no
and
joke.
I'm
No.
yeah, it is. And I definitely been, trying to encourage people to do it, dive in, and do it for yourself. That's why I tell people, like, do it for yourself. Like, you want to feel better, you want to become better, you want to kick a habit, you want to create new, ways of being, new, bring in meditation. Like, that's why I said, like, I let go of alcohol, I let go of the marijuana. I let go of that toxic relationship. I let go of being attracted to that type of a person. And what did I gain? I gained meditation, I gained yoga, I gained self-reflection, I gained self-realization, I gained, just more healthier thoughts and ways of like living,
Yeah.
So yeah.
You're a living, breathing example of what you get out of these practices, what you get out of healing. And yeah, the more that, people like you and I talk about this, I think the easier the path will be for other people to follow.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a close friend that I'm like, okay, let me know when you're ready. I'm gonna hold your hand through it. I told her all about you, so let's see. But then again, I told her I was like, I know I can't force you to be ready. Like but I just want you to give it a try. Like take the first step, make the appointment, get a consultation, and then take it from there. Like
Yeah.
um, But I just told her I will hold you through it. I have your back completely because it's important. Like one, having your own back is extremely important and being there and loving yourself. But like, I feel like my friends and my coach and the people who I had to hold me during that process, like either physically or, virtually or just spiritually or like it was so needed, as well too, and just keeping faith that like trusting the process, that too. It's like, okay, even though this feels like I'm, you know, in this slow death. Like,
When
but it
you
was,
feel like you're dying, you need mentors. And I can say that for myself too. Like, man, I had people who like kind of saved my life at different points. Like, yeah.
sorry.
No, it's okay. I was gonna say, yeah, like I needed people. Absolutely. We need people that are even just like a couple steps ahead of us to be like, you're okay. You're gonna
Oh,
make it. Like,
yeah,
just keep breathing. Yeah.
definitely. That was very helpful. Having you as a coach, also the facilitators, and like this different people who just held that space for me, really like just there for me. It's like really like I hold such a high appreciation. I'm like, damn, I must be such like an amazing person, which I don't doubt that I am. That like people want to be there. Like I have these people who just like genuinely like, okay, well, what do you need? I got you this, that, like, helping me. Like, it was like, wow, like it was pretty amazing to experience that. So now it's like, oh, I want to like be in this like deep conversation with these topics with people. And that's been, like, kind of in a nutshell, the journey, because it has been, extensive and it's still happening. So, but it's been good. I'm very, very happy and thankful that one, I did it, and that two, the tools and people and different things that came my way when I needed it. That's why I said I feel like I'm getting exactly what I need. It's just coming to me, So
It's so beautiful.
yeah.
And yeah, it was like it's so good to just have these talks. You know me, like I do love to talk about this stuff. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think the more we can talk about it, the more we can normalize the healing process and like how hard it is and what it actually is made up of. Like a lot of the, like I said, a lot of the pain, a lot of the fear, then it becomes easier for people. And we're not so hard on ourselves when we're grieving and when we're maybe being more we're living in solitude a bit more than we were. Like that's all normal. It's all a normal part of the process. So yeah, I'm glad that we're talking about it.
Yeah, one thing I will say that I learned was that like a break when you go through a breakup, it's actually a grieving point. Like I didn't ever really labeled it as that. It was just like, oh, I'm heartbroken. Like my feelings are hurt. And but this, like I think that brought even more of an understanding of my feelings and what I'm experiencing and how messy it is and allowing it to be that messy. And so that was very helpful, like learning that one part. Like this is actual grief. Like it doesn't necessarily mean that person died, but it's like the death of something. And in this case, I feel like it was the death of the idea of of what I thought it could have been. So
Yes. Because emotionally, it's a pretty similar feeling to when
yeah,
someone dies. When you're ending a relationship, like it's likely that you might not ever see this person again. So essentially, they are gone from your life. It is absolutely a grieving process.
yeah, yeah. And I stuck to it. I remember you saying too, if you'll get there quicker if you just stop communicating. And
Yeah.
it took a little bit because I was accepting phone calls and messages and until I was like, done. I realized that it was the ego. It was the ego that was allowing a little bit of a slight or an avenue or leaving the door slightly open of like allowing this person to still communicate and contact me. That it was like the ego, and I'm going to be honest and vulnerable. It was like I just want to make sure he still wants me, even though I was like, oh, hell no, I'm not going to be with this person. Like, there's no way at this point, no way. But it was like, oh, he still wants me, and then I'm like, okay, Radhika, you see he's still looking for you, you see he's still calling, he's still like, so now what? And I was
Yeah.
like, that's it, I'm just playing with myself. And I had to cut it, and I did, and I have nothing, there's been absolutely no communication at all since September. So
Amazing. It takes so much courage to do that, to take that final step. And yeah, I give you a ton of credit for being able to do that.
and I mean honest with you, I've never done that before. I've
Mm.
never just cut somebody off. Like
Well,
that was
let's
the
even, yeah, like let's even rephrase it. Like you're not cutting somebody off. Like you guys broke up. Like you had that talk. You said you're moving on, and that's what naturally happens when you break
yeah.
up. You know,
Right. Yes, it is.
you didn't
But
just
I
like
feel like
ghost
I've
him one
always
day.
kept that like door open in a way, and like, whether it was just like a phone conversation or text messaging or something like that. Like I also feel like when I really reflected on what happened with this person, like the way I was handled, like when you're in the mix of it, you don't, you're not really seeing it, like you're right. And it's like it was like getting out of it really was like, damn, like I was handled with such disrespect and such disregard that I was like, I cannot allow a person like that in my life,
Yeah.
period. And I got to that point, I believe strongly, and I see it, and it's the facts through the healing, because I have let people who've done disrespectful things in my life, through relationships in my life,
Yeah.
keeping communication, knowing it was wrong. I knew it was wrong, but I was still letting it happen. Now I was like, no way. Like I'm not leaving the door open for more disrespect, nor for someone who has disrespected me the way that I was disrespected. I mean, it's
Or
crazy.
more
And then it's like,
pain.
what's crazy
Yeah.
is that this person doesn't even acknowledge it as disrespect. Even more. I don't know what he thinks of it now or whatever, but like, I just didn't even like acknowledge it as disrespect.
Yeah.
So yeah, and kind of reflecting and remembering words that were spoken, and like just the reaction to things, it was just like, yeah, this person doesn't even like acknowledge the level of disrespect. So I was like, you know what, that's it, I love me. And you know
Mm.
what? You are not going to be in my life. No, I don't want to come see you. No, I don't want to talk to you. No, no, and no. And that was it. So here we are.
Here we are
Yes.
in your new life.
Yes. I'm still figuring out what it is.
That's all
But
right. No, but
yeah,
I
I
like I
know.
think I said to you, like I see this year as being a pretty amazing year for you. Just like continuing that exponential growth and so many new opportunities. Like just this, like you're doing a podcast. This is amazing. Just
I
yeah,
know. I
lots of good
know. And
stuff.
this is like the very first. So it's like, okay, I feel like it's only gonna it's like the warm up,
Yeah.
like it's be more comfortable. I feel like I'm even like been red because I'm like a little nervous. But I mean it's just the natural, reaction. It's like this is the truth, so it's yeah. And that's another thing I'm allowing myself to be in my truth. Allowing myself, not covering up how I feel about something, not covering. And it's one thing I had was I didn't stick up for myself at that, before all this, and I didn't like voice what I was going through or voice something that I was uncomfortable with. Like, nah, that's not who I am anymore.
Mm-mm.
Not
Does it
like,
feel good to
yeah,
just
it
be
does. It
honest? To be
does. And
honest.
yes, and it still feels a little weird because
Yeah.
it's so new.
Yeah,
But
it
I
takes
feel
some
like
getting used to. Oh yeah.
right, and I definitely feel like since I started doing that, like I am more comfortable in it.
Yes.
So much more comfortable that I even said, "Damn, am I doing too much? Am I being too
Yeah,
honest?"
you might swing to the other extreme for a little while, but you'll come back into balance.
Right.
It's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
do. Right. I have felt like have been feeling like I'm learning the balance more. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm still learning. Like I said, I feel like since I died, my rebirth now, I'm like literally this infant, this that's learned how to crawl. I'm pulling myself up, like I'm giving myself that like grace of where I'm at. I have my moments where it doesn't feel as graceful, where I'm like, God, like please, like like, just like make me, I don't want to feel these feelings. I don't want to have these thoughts. And like one thing I also gained was a lot more mind control. Like I feel like I definitely have a lot more control of my thoughts because it's like, I was reading this book, The Untethered Soul, and it's all about your
Yeah.
thoughts. Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
about like it's like there's your thoughts talking to each other, and then there's you. And it's like you tell your thoughts, that's it. And I've literally done that. I've literally been like, I've been like, all right, enough. I've had enough. Like, that's it. Like, I get it. You're used to talking to each other. You're used to like, bringing these things up. No more. And then I
Right.
just think about something happy. And I think about like, prosperous things. I think about like where I'm going, what I've done, how thankful I am for this, how thankful I am for my son. I'm thankful for work. I'm thankful for my spirituality. I'm thankful for everything I've accomplished and the people that
Mhm.
have been involved in it. It's just like, okay, no more of these thoughts.
Yeah. Because you're not really your thoughts. You're the one that's witnessing them.
Right. Being
Some of
the
them.
observer. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's really pretty much what's been going on here. How have you been?
I am good. Yeah, no, I'm going through my continue learning process that I go through. And like I do think it's kind of this process that just never stops. Like I feel like I'm always refining things in my life and I'm always learning new ways to be in my relationship, to show up as healthy as I can be. And so I'm just continuing on my journey too. So you're not alone in it. Like I'm right here alongside
Yeah.
with you. Maybe a couple steps ahead, but still I'm still in
Yeah,
it too. I'm
definitely.
just doing my stuff
Definitely.
and learning what I need to learn, and it's worth it. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Like it's an amazing journey that is so worth it.
It is. It is. It so is. I'm like, I want to encourage the whole world to dig in. Like,
Well, I think
you
you
know,
are. Like if people watch
yeah,
this, if people listen, yeah,
yeah.
I
It has
think you're
been
you're such an
so,
inspiring person.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And you've been an inspiration to learning your, story and to be outside of it. Like that's definitely so helpful when you think of like, okay, especially when you're like in it and you're like feeling it. And it's like, okay, there's light. There is the end of the tunnel and the light is super bright and it's radiant and I'm gonna be, in it soon enough. I am the light.
I was gonna say, I feel like you're already there. Like you're already shining. Yeah,
Yes, yes,
exactly.
thank you. But yeah, and I've met so many like amazing people along the way, like, going to that seminar, like to have people that have become like my spiritual family, that I was like, well, that's such a gift
That's the
in
word that came
itself.
to me. That is a gift.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And we're still in touch. We went on vacation together. I've had a couple come visit me here
Wow.
in the past couple of months, and where we could just be there. It's like we're having a great time with each other, but then also holding that like deep, like understanding, and deep, like, just the space is full of love, and like full of like support, and we're just being. It's not like we're like, oh, like it's, we're just being,
Right.
and in a place where vulnerability is like encouraged. Like, please, like this, what are you going through? Like, what's happening for you? Like, okay, so
You're real.
yeah,
You're being real.
definitely. Yeah, totally. Well,
I'm
I
so happy
definitely
for you.
thank you. Thank you. And I hope that this person is it.
Yeah,
'Cause
I hope
I
so
don't really want
too.
to I don't really want to like keep on keeping on, but I mean, I do feel like it's way better option than definitely the last person, but like, just overall, like, I feel like since I've stepped into this new, like, I've attracted something completely different. It definitely feels so much more balanced. It feels so much more like, I don't know, like a good choice. Like, I'm confident in it being a good choice. Where I've never really been confident. It was always like, oh God, what am I doing? Should I do this? I shouldn't be doing this. No, I probably shouldn't. Oh no, is that, am I just worried? It's this like, no, it was your intuition saying, get out, run. But
Right.
I didn't listen. But it was part of it. I needed to go to those things, right? So
Now you're listening.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm confident that, like, it only gets better from here. So definitely.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for this very much.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be your first guest on your
Yeah,
podcast.
thank you. And I definitely want to have you come again. I know we talked about maybe getting like a group together of other people who are on this path, and in their spiritual awakening and reflecting, self-awareness journey. Because that's really where it starts. I think it's like this
Yeah.
self, you got to go through the grief and everything, but it's really like getting to the core of like why within you did these things happen. It's like you could sit there and you could blame, oh, this person did this person, yeah, this person did that, yes, but you allowed it.
You
you
were
you
there. Yes,
you
and you
were
made
there.
choices.
Yeah, right, the choices that you made allowed it, because you stayed in whatever, right, it was unhealed things that within you that allowed that, you had, right, so yeah,
We'll
so
talk more. Absolutely.
yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much, and you have a good evening, and we'll be in touch.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay.